So I know it. A lot of men would have a very difficult time staying home at the crib. I've known some people, and I do know some people. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot, but I do know a
Yeah.
few dads, man, who stay at the crib while their wives or their significant others, their partners, go to work. But I know as a society, it may be a little bit more acceptable today. But bro, back in the day, that was not acceptable. You mean you was
So
looking like, yo, he a punk. What up? What up? What
what's
up?
up?
We are here back again for another episode on this wonderful March, what,
March
14th,
14th.
2024, man. So we are
Man,
at it again, man. What's up with
can
you,
you
man? How
believe
are you?
what's man, listen, I still got on my winter hat and my crew neck. I don't know if it's we in Michigan, so I don't know if it's gonna be hot or if it's gonna be
Yo,
cold.
listen,
I'm just preparing for whatever come my way when it comes to this Michigan weather, man.
listen to me, bruh. It was just beautiful just yesterday. It was
Yeah,
incredible yesterday. And
yeah.
then next thing you know, like today I get up and go outside. I'm like, yo, it's chilly outside. Like, what's good with that? I didn't
Yeah.
know because I don't ever check the weather. So you see, I got a short sleeve shirt on.
That's what I'm saying. I see you. I
You
see
know
you
what I
with a
mean?
short sleeve shirt
I
on,
was like,
and I
oh,
got on a hat.
yeah. So we had two different time zones.
I see you with the jewelry too. What's going on with the you got the
Dude, this is
the
so
jewelry
old.
on.
I don't know what you talking about. This is old. I've been
This
had
oh
this.
that's old.
Yeah, what? Not like that, but I've been had this.
Look. Oh, okay. I'm okay. I'm just checking. Look, I lift up my shirt. I realize I got on double t-shirts, bro. I'm cold.
Yeah, and I got on a t-shirt. Yeah, yeah. I don't know where you are, but it's
Listen, I'm in Michigan. So listen, I got a subject matter I want to talk about, Sean.
yes,
So
sir.
we with us working with fathers, we always talk about the role of a father and what fathers can provide for their families or what they should be providing for their families. One of the questions I have for you, man, is it acceptable or okay in our society for a father to stay at home, take care of his children while his partner works? Full-time job. Is it okay for a dad to make the decision, well, you know what, I'm not gonna work. I'm gonna stay home and raise the kids while you go to work. What's
Mm.
your thoughts or take on that?
Man, that's a good one. Um, so my thought on this subject, man, is that so to answer your first question, I do think it's okay, right?
You think it's okay?
But this is the thing that goes with it because just because I run my house a certain type of way
Okay.
and I have a certain desire, certain type of setup at my crib, doesn't mean your house should have the same thing. So
Got you.
I have to preface by saying is does that couple or that family are they in agreement? Right? Are they in alignment with one another with one another to say, you know what, we want our children to be homeschooled, or we don't want to take our child to a sitter, and the mother makes significantly more than the father, and she's like, you know what, I would just rather you stay at the crib. Now, if he like, I'm with it, right? That's one thing. But if he like, no,
Okay.
I want to go and work, and she like, tap him on the head, like, all right, bro, you stay, you know what I mean, your little, whatever
The
you
little
make it.
tap.
Yes, you know what I mean, like she like, like little bro in them. Like, no, you stay at the crib. You only make $30,000 or $40,000, and she's making, quadruple that. I mean, that's a
Okay.
whole nother thing, right? But my biggest
Okay.
thing, man, if they are in alignment with it, I don't see an issue to it. And I'll say this, bro.
That,
Years ago, years
you sound real
ago,
safe.
No,
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm not
Listen,
being saved.
li-
But, you mean because my thing is like that's really my thought process, right? That's my thought today. That's my thought
right,
process today.
right.
And I was just about to go into talking about. I remember when I lost my job, and my wife was working, and she would come home every day when I lost my job, and I was in the crib playing a video game.
Ooh.
She was
So,
pissed with her little cousin. And I had a child. So Sydney was, I don't know how old was Sydney. Sydney was a little baby, but I was at the crib playing video games and she was out working. She was pissed. But it was crazy. I was okay with it for a second.
that's crazy. Cause listen, that's crazy to me. Let me tell you, because I remember losing my job and filing for unemployment, bruh. I was hiding. I would make my when my kids would come home, they would think I was at work. I would hurry up, get myself dressed, like I'd leave and then
Really?
come back. Yeah, I didn't want them to think that I was, I didn't have no job. I wasn't even ready to tell nobody because my identity was connected to employment. So for me, it was like I had never been unemployed before. I had never even heard of that. I'm like, because I've been working my whole life, and so then I lose my job, and I'm like, oh, I gotta apply. They're telling me to apply at an agency for employment. I'm like, wait, you want me to go into an agency and fill out a resume
And
and
show
have
my
people
face?
and people see that I don't have a job? Like, oh no, no. So I
No.
remember hiding, just kind of hiding because I didn't want anybody to think that I was lazy, that I wasn't doing, I wasn't a man, I couldn't provide for my family. So I remember like being just hiding the fact that I didn't have employment. And I thought to myself, man, how many guys make up stuff or finesse or hide from their families because they can't provide.
No, listen. I think a lot of people do. I tell you, man. Like my wife would tell you early on, bro, and I think I mentioned on here before, is that, bro, when my wife and I was early in our relationship, when she made more money than me, bro, I had a problem with it.
Man,
She didn't know, but like for real, I mean, I told her afterwards, but bro, I had a problem with it because I'm like, man, there's no way you should be making more than me. I'm supposed to be the breadwinner. I'm the head of the house. All of these things because of what society tells us what it should look like. The place I was coming from was very, very toxic. And
mm,
so my thought process was coming from a toxic place. It wasn't coming from a healthy place um, at all, right? It was just all being toxic. And I remember, bro, when my wife lost her job, it was eye opener because now it was like God was like, "Oh, you said you want to make more money than her." And so, bro, what I was making at the time really couldn't sustain us. You know what I mean? So it's
okay,
just like, oh,
okay.
that's what you want? You want to make more money? Yeah. So now you're making more money. And so I'm like, no, no, that's not what I meant. So, like, honestly, I had to have a whole mindset transformation as it relates to that, from that standpoint. So I know a lot of men would have a very difficult time staying home at the crib. I've known some people, and I do know some people. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot, but I do know a
Yeah.
few dads, man, who stay at the crib while their wives or their significant others, their partners, go to work. But I know as a society, it may be a little bit more acceptable today. But bro, back in the day, that was not acceptable. You mean you was
So
looking like, yo, he a punk.
so let me ask this. Is it acceptable? Is it a little bit more acceptable for certain particular men? So I'm gonna say, is it acceptable for a man of color to be at home with his kids in this society when he has a partner that is making more money than him or is at work? Is it okay for him to? Is it much more acceptable for a man of color to be able to stay at home?
I don't think
or
color
is it
has it.
do you
I don't think
you don't have
color
anything
has
to do with
anything to do
race?
with it, bro. I just think
No,
that
okay,
it has.
okay,
I don't think it has anything to do with color. I think it has everything to do with male, female, and what
so gender.
society says. I think it has everything to do with gender. That
Okay,
men is supposed to be out there working. Men is supposed to be bringing home. Like if you find out like this dude is a stay home dad, it's just like, huh. Tell me more about that, right? So it's not just like, oh, that's what's up, my dude. You know what I mean? High five,
yeah,
chest bump, the whole nine. Is just like, all right, let's explore this. Dude's gonna walk
yeah,
away like, did you hear my man? Now
yeah,
they may be like, oh, his wife a doctor. She make all of this and he does that part. You know what I mean? Then somebody may be a little bit more accepting, but I just think that people have a very, very hard time. What up, Mr. Warren? Pastor Warren was popping, man. But I think that's where people struggle with, man. Where especially today, bro. I think it's more acceptable, but I think people still struggle with guys still struggle if they significant other make more money than them. I would have to argue that most men um, will have a problem with that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I know most men will have a real problem if their significant other make more money than them. A secure man like me today, I ain't tripping.
yeah,
Leo, go
yeah,
ahead, secure that bag. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But when I was insecure, bro, nah, you don't make more than me.
And it's funny that we mentioning that, right? Because I work with so many young men that talk about they have to have the money. They gotta look the part. Because if they don't look the part and they don't have the money, somebody else who does is going to get the girl. So for a lot of young men, the idea of like getting the bag, having the money, whether it's legal money or not legal money, the goal is to make sure you look like you got it so that you can get whatever society is telling you you're supposed to have. So I hear this and then I think, well, what role do women play in these narratives around how men are supposed to show up in these spaces as well? Because I hear from a lot of young men that hey, if you don't look like you got it, you don't got it, and somebody else will. And
But
so
but a
that
lot of
becomes
times,
the conversation that I get a lot too.
but I'm just thinking. But a lot of times, dudes, man, they be wanting to save. Sometimes they be wanting to save women, right? Because now if I can save
Wait,
you,
wait, 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 wait.
come on, what?
Come on. We okay.
I'm just
Break that
saying,
down.
a lot of
Break
times
that down.
guys want to save a woman because I'm your savior. I am the one taking you out the hood. I'm the one taking you. I'm putting you in these finer things. So now,
Nah.
it's like, yo, I done transformed you. I the one who
Ooh.
brought you up, right? So now it's just like, yo, that feeds a lot of dudes' egos. Like, yo,
Yeah.
I done brought you out of this, right? And that's why it could be so hard when or if it goes south because the dude like yo I done brought you up, I done exposed you to this, I done took you here, I done took you there, and now you mean so a lot of times man dudes want to save women or bring them to a place of obscurity if they think that they are less than.
Well, you what I just heard you talk about is power and control. That's what you just broke down real quick.
Hey, you go
That's power and control, right?
but help me understand when you say power and control.
Well, what I just heard you say is this idea of I have the resources, I have the power, and so by me having the resources and which gives me a certain level of power, then I can use that power to manipulate and control the environment and the situation in terms of guilt tripping you or making you feel bad because you don't have these resources and you need me.
I got
Like
you,
you
but
need me,
no,
and
I'm
if you
with you.
don't have me,
I'm,
go ahead, go ahead.
what I'm saying is I got you, but I'm not talking about in the an abusive and a power control.
Well,
I'm just talking about innately dudes just like, hey, I see her over there. She bad. She got a banging body. She a good girl. You know what I mean? I'm gonna expose her. I'm gonna buy her stuff. You know what I mean? That's the trophy I want on my shoulder, right? So for some, it's not about like, oh, you can't do anything. They may be straight up legit. You have your freedom. You can go with your girls, do whatever the case. But what I'm saying, that feeds guys' ego that they can provide and bring a young lady up. That feeds the dude ego. I hear you. What Yada say? Yada,
I,
what you say? What you say? Yada Yada says. Hold up. Let me bring this out. So you done started some trouble. What did he say?
hey,
He said the resources are given in the hope that she recognizes the blessing that we could be together when it's genuine. Yes, when it's
I
genuine.
when it's genuine,
Yes.
yeah, I'm with that. But when it's not genuine,
Oh, that's the problem when it's not genuine. I'm not
so
speaking to.
what?
I'm not talking about that. I mean, I'm not speaking
Well, I'm
to.
playing. I'm playing devil's
You
advocate.
playing Devin?
That's what I'm
Well,
doing. Because
that's a whole. That's James said narcissistic tendencies. I get it. I get it. You mean you will have an
yes,
individual with narcissistic tendencies, but I'm just saying, and y'all can chime in. But dudes get off on that, man. Dudes would get off. Dudes get off on having materials, like materialistic stuff that can attract that woman. Now, if she doesn't have, and now I could bring her up and buy this and buy that and take her here and there. Yo, my man, he's sitting like he could go around to his boys like, yo, yeah, that's me. That's me, yeah, yeah.
so who responsible for that, right? Because that now takes me back to who? Fathers. Who socializes boys to become men? And where do you get these ideologies from that tells you that your resources is outside of you versus inside of you?
It's the chicken or the egg. What comes first?
So,
Yeah, because
is
society.
that,
I'm just saying, it's the chicken or the egg, right? Because you have you could
but
say
I learned that from interacting or watching other men.
yes,
Where do you pick behavior
and
patterns up?
hold up, and women too. Because women like, yo, listen, hold up. Now I'm gonna
I,
be, I ain't gonna be the devil's
listen,
advocate. You know what I mean?
I'm
But
with
because
you.
I never advocate for it. So, but what I'm gonna say is, you will have women that's just like, yo, if you can't provide for me, if you can't get my hair done, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like if you can't do that, I can do bad all by myself. Like, bro, I don't need you. What's up, Father's Heart podcast family? Yeah, we have sponsorships now, and this week's sponsor is none other than Involved Dad. So listen up, fathers. Are you looking for a deeper understanding to understand fatherhood and make a positive impact in your children and families' lives? Look no further than Involved Dad, right? Where we create strong fathers through fatherhood engagement, right? It's extremely important for children to have fathers that are not only showing up, but they are showing out, that they are fully invested, they are fully engaged. So this week's sponsor is an agency, man, that knows the ins and out of fatherhood and know how to strengthen families, know how to fill the gaps and connect families to the right resources so they can live their best lives and become more and more successful. So listen, if you need assistance, if you know someone who needs help on fathering, on parenting, co-parenting, or a father that is just struggling, right? That he does not know how and what to do about his next move, because this game that we call this life that we live, sometimes, man, it's like a game of chess, right? Like knowing your next move. And at Involved Dad, what we do, we help fathers make their next best move. So reach out to us, right? The number is 313-757-1388, and you can find us on the web as well, and that is involveddad.org. No S, because a lot of people put Involved Dads, although we want Involved Dads, but it's involveddad.org. So yes, listen, don't be average, you might as well be elite in your parenting and in fatherhood. I got my own bag, I have all, so I don't need you. So with dudes, that is a huge thing that will cause a dude to feel insecure, like, oh, I can't take her somewhere, or I can't provide for this. I can't provide. A dude would get shut down because he. Man, I remember when I was about to graduate college, and I ain't putting nobody out there, right? So they probably ain't even watching this. But I'm just saying. I remember when I was in college, bro.
Okay. Okay.
My this girl judged me because I was riding around in the Ford Escort. It was a hatchback. She like, I ain't getting in that. I ain't getting in
See,
that. Now, granted, I had some crumbs in my seat, but she
I was
like,
about to
I'm not
say,
getting in that. And so my thing is, she was looking at where I was at the time, didn't see my potential, none of that. Just like, oh, I ain't getting in that.
so, so that
What?
just
What
meant
you
she wasn't
guys?
the right one, right?
Huh?
She wasn't the right one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, God saved me from that. Like, yo, He saved me. But I'm just saying, like, that is something
Yeah.
right there where women will miss a blessing because of what they see a person in their current state. Like, no, I'm good on that.
And let's put this disclaimer out there too, because what I don't want us to happen is for folks to, we're not talking about all women. So that's, I want us to like make sure we say that, right?
Wait, yeah, hold on. Y'all just
But
said it's not necessarily about material things that are the resources. The ultimate resource that real men want to provide is a safe place for her. That the resources will we hope that she feels and see. Absolutely, I love that. I love that, bro.
I, and yeah, I love that too. And I also think that, is it innate for a woman to want safety and security? Is that like built in her to
I do.
want to
I
have
do.
that level of safety and security?
I do.
Because
I do think it's innate. I think it's innate, and I think that society perpetuates that. Society supports that. Um, and then when a woman doesn't display that, then she's considered a freak, right? And then men can look at it as like, oh, she got issues. She got these type of issues because she's confident, right? I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with balance, man. It has to have balance. I mean, my boy said this to me some years ago. He was like, the problem is not of correcting. He was like, people get in an accident not because they correct the steering wheel, right? Like you see something in the road, you correct. I mean, you adjust. The problem is when we overcorrect, right? Now you in 2 or 3 lanes. And so it's the same thing with relationships because somebody experienced something in their previous one, they get in this new one like, oh, I'm never doing that. So they come into this new relationship with these I nevers. And they respond from a place of pain and trauma and all of that type of stuff and all of the stuff that society puts on us as people. We go into these relationships, man, with unrealistic expectations.
Well, I agree with you, I think one of the comments said something about creating a safe place, right? If I recall that,
Yeah,
and part of me wonders like how do how well I feel like I could talk about how I learned it, but this idea, how do you learn how to create psychological safe spaces and physical safe spaces? And I think in particular there's this idea that when we think about safety, does how does a man build a home for his family if he doesn't have the resources to create a home? And so this idea, what I have seen growing up is that many of the men that were a part of my life, they never moved us into a home that they had. They always lived in my mama's house,
mm,
right? And so, I'm working with young men, and when I ask the question around, like, what have you, when you think about your family dynamic and whether your father was present or not, did your father build a home? And I don't mean like building it brick by brick, but was he a part of creating a stable environment for you? And many times they say no, that my mother's was, she had the house, and when he didn't act right, he was about that house. And so when I think about, so then how do you socialize yourself to, do you own a home? Do you rent a home? But this idea of, I've got a lot of young men who have seen men transition in and out of homes, and their mothers have been the stable foundation for those homes. And so they're either saying one thing, or I've seen them practice, I'm going to go live with a woman, and I'm gonna live in the house, and then I know to make sure that I have another one so I can switch out to this one, switch out to that one, because they've just seen men transition and not necessarily create these safe environments that we're talking about. And so I think again when we talk about this idea, because our original conversation was around, does a man stay at home? Is it acceptable in the society for him to stay at home while his partner works? It goes back to again how we socialize, because
That's real.
these young men are
It's
saying,
hard.
"Hey,
I already know. It's hard for a dude to, for it's hard for a guy to be looked at as like respected for some people if he's staying at home, right?
if he's staying up,
It's just like, yo, why? Why are you staying at home? Like, what's wrong with you? Right? I mean, they're not looking at like that both of them came to an agreement on why they are doing this. It's just like, yo, bro, what's wrong with him? Like, yo, you know, my man stay at the crib, and then they will probably even put on there he babysitting, right? Like, yo, yo, he
for
babysitting.
real, he
No, no,
babysitting.
that's real. Like
That's for
he
real,
babysitting. You know what I mean?
babysitting."
It is. It's definitely. I just know me. I can't do it. Right? I that's not my makeup, but I can't judge dudes
Yeah,
who does because that works for their home. That's just like my
yeah.
wife and I. Our money is in the same bank account. She has access to everything I have, and I have access to everything she has. At least I think I do. Right?
I was gonna say you ain't got no secret stash.
No, she had one, and I made her put me on it. She was, "Oh, this is Levi's account. It's Levi's." Well, yeah, me, you, and Levi is on that account now. You know what I
That's
mean?
a legit or not legit.
Yeah, huh, huh. So yeah, but no, but I'm just saying, like that's the way we do it. But I wouldn't. When I do marital counseling, I don't tell people like, "Yo, you need to put your money together." Like, what works for your crib? So if my man is staying at the crib and they're both in agreement. And that's the same thing even for women, right? Like if she's a stay at home, like bro, don't have her stay at home just because this is the way it's supposed to do, and y'all robbing Peter to pay Paul. Just because you are from the school that she is supposed to stay home and cook and clean, and you go make the bread, and you can't even provide for your family, and you can't even
Yeah,
sustain your. That's a whole different, you know, that's a whole different conversation. But you can't
yeah.
put these demands out there and you're not stepping up to the plate to be able to provide for your family the way that they need you to step up. You know what I mean? Again, that's a whole different conversation.
And it's stepping up, also asking for help, because that's another thing, and we that might be a whole nother conversation. Is the idea, is it okay for a man when he's trying to step up ask for help?
It is, right? It is, but it's hard, bro, because when
Right,
I
right.
ask for help, he view it as they're gonna see that um, I do not have the ability to provide or take care of my family. It's a sign of weakness,
Yeah,
right? So now, how are they gonna ever see me the way that I've been?
man.
Yeah, the way I've
How you
been
gonna
wanting
see
to
me as
see
a
me on
man?
this time before. So it's extremely hard, and that's why I love that Involved Dad has been able to create an environment to empower men. That yo, it's I. If you over there with Involved Dad, like yo, that's dope. It's a thing to do, right? So it's not like a place you go to because you down and out. We try to create an environment to where like yo, you whack if you're not right?
Yeah.
Like, yo, this is what we do to grow and to develop and to build, and we support one another, and that's the way we've always tried to make um, our agency. You know, that's the type of feel that we try to get. What y'all to say? He over here talking good. What he talking?
Man, look, he breaking it down.
Interesting experience I had while dating this sister was I realized that I was more domestic than her. I grew up with four sisters in my home, and I'm the youngest. I was cleaning greens at 4. Wow. She was very
Cleaning green.
successful in her career. No kids and didn't know how to cook. Dating her was challenging. Good sister though. That's real,
That's
but
real.
that's
That's real.
right? That is real, man. You know, but the thing about it, man, is like my wife and I, we both do not like to cook. We do it to survive, right? You know what I mean? We don't like to cook. And I told her early on, like, yo, I'm not going to make you cook like that's what you have to do or whatever. Like, you don't like doing that, right? Like, what do you like to do? Like, she's dope
Yeah.
in other areas. You know what I mean? So don't put that expectation on me. We will figure out how we navigate together to making sure that we all eat. What is that
Yeah.
plan? Right? And so that's just in that cooking part, but it's in other aspects. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
No. No, that's good. I think when we release gender and allow people to be themselves and show up with their gifts and talents, that's the freedom. That's the inclusivity of family,
Yeah.
right? The family
My,
culture,
my
man.
boy down here, he like, Dad, we got to go to
Yeah.
soccer. So he ready for
Listen,
soccer.
what's up, man? I haven't seen you in a minute.
Yeah,
Hair growing out?
yeah.
Wow. Listen, I
My man.
heard you earlier. I'll tell y'all that later. That's another story.
Love it.
Yeah, man. Well, yo, I'm gonna take him to
Y'all
soccer,
got we gotta
man.
go. We gotta go.
Yeah, I'm gonna take him to soccer. Yo, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate everybody, man, for continuing to rocking with us. And yeah, we gonna continue to build, man. He likes the
Time
camera.
to go.
Yeah, he likes
Listen,
the camera. You see him, pulling me like,
I
I got you.
look, look.
I got you.
He like, look, Dad, come on.
All right, man. See you
All
next.
right, brother.
All right, baby.